So let's talk about artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. AI is completely changing the game, and it's creating this massive skills gap. And with it, a huge need for people who really know how to handle this new world. Today, we're going to dive into the world of AI security certifications to help you figure out what your next move should be.
First, let's just get a clear picture of what's happening right now. You have to understand that AI is both an incredibly powerful shield for defense and a seriously dangerous weapon for attackers. It's a whole new battlefield. And the problem? Well, most of us, we're just not ready for it.
You know, this quote from a recent Accenture report just hits the nail on the head. AI is moving at this breakneck speed, and security is desperately trying to play catch-up. And this isn't just some tech problem. For most companies out there, this is a massive strategic risk.
And the scale of this problem, it's just staggering. Think about this number. A full 90% of companies, they just don't have the maturity to defend themselves against modern AI-powered cyber threats. That leaves almost everyone incredibly vulnerable. And it gets worse. On top of that, 77% of organizations don't even have the most basic security practices in place for their data and their AI systems. We're talking about the absolute fundamentals, the building blocks you need to protect your most critical digital assets.
So, what does that leave us with? A tiny fraction, just 10% of companies, are what Accenture calls reinvention ready. These are the only ones who have both a solid strategy and the high-tech capabilities to actually defend themselves in this new age of AI threats.
Okay, so the problem is huge. It's urgent. What in the world do we do about it? Well, we have to bridge this critical security gap. And honestly, one of the most direct ways to start doing that is through professional development.
What this means for you is a huge demand for people who can prove they get both sides of the coin, the AI side and the security side. In today's market, getting a certification has become the clearest, most direct way for you to show what you know and for companies to find the talent they are so desperate for.
So let's break this whole certification landscape down into three main categories. First up, let's talk about where you start, the foundational certifications. These are for people who are just breaking into the field. But right away, that brings up a big question, right? You look out there and it's just flooded with options. It can be kind of overwhelming. So where do you even begin? Let's check out two popular but very different ways to get started. On one hand, you've got something like the Google Cybersecurity Certificate. It's a great, broad introduction if you're just starting your career, covering the essentials like Python, Linux, and SIEM tools. But on the other hand, you've got more specialized starting points, like DataCipher's AI Security Level 1, which zeroes in on that intersection of AI and security right from day one. So if we dive a little deeper into that DataCipher cert, you can see it's a 40-hour course that costs just under $1,300. But what's really interesting is how accessible it is. It's built for everyone from total beginners to current IT pros. The only real prerequisite? You just have to be interested in AI. This is really for someone who wants to specialize early on.
And getting started is actually pretty straightforward. You just visit their portal, pick if you want to learn live or at your own pace, enroll with a partner, and boom, you've got access to everything. They make it really easy for anyone to take that first step into AI security.
All right, so that's the starting line. But what if you're not a beginner? What if you've already got some real experience in IT or security? Well, then it's time to level up with professional certifications.
At this level, it is all about specialization. We're not talking about the basics anymore. This is about getting deep into the weeds. These courses are really designed for people who are already in the trenches. You know, developers, security analysts, engineers who need to add AI to their skill set.
And wow, the financial investment here can be all over the map. You might find a course from an organization like CFTE for around £450. Then you've got a program from Oxford that's closer to £1,300, and then at the very high end, a SANS course can run you over $8,500. That price usually reflects just how deep and hands-on the training really gets.
And now for our final category, which is, well, it's the really fun part. We've talked about building defenses, but what about breaking them? Welcome to the world of offensive security, or as you might know it, ethical hacking.
And this really forces you to ask yourself a fundamental question. Are you a builder or are you a breaker? Because to truly defend these new AI systems, you absolutely have to understand how an attacker thinks. And that, my friends, is a completely different set of skills.
A really big certification in this space is the Certified AI/ML Pen Tester. And listen, this is no multiple choice quiz. This is a 4-hour,
hands-on, practical exam where you are actively finding and exploiting weaknesses in AI and in large language models. You know, the tech behind tools like ChatGPT.
So what are they actually testing you on? Well, it's the really cutting-edge attack methods. We're talking about things like prompt injection, where you trick an AI into breaking its own safety rules, or training data poisoning, where you actually corrupt the data an AI learns from. These are the real-world vulnerabilities that companies are dealing with right now.
And don't just take my word for it. Industry experts have been raving about how realistic this exam is. Jason Haddix, who's a huge name in the hacking community, said the challenges perfectly mimic real-world scenarios. That kind of praise really shows you how relevant and how tough this certification path is.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here, right? From the foundational stuff to the professional level, all the way to offensive security. So now, let's bring it all together and figure out how you can choose the path that's right for you.
But before we wrap this up, I want to share a super important piece of advice from a Reddit user who, get this, actually works for a certification company. They said, I'd recommend getting any IT job and gaining real-world experience, not just chase certifications. It's a dose of reality. Certs are great, but they're no substitute for hands-on experience. The two have to go together.
So what's the bottom line here? It's that there is no single best certification, period. The right choice for you is going to depend entirely on your background, where you want to go in your career, and of course, your budget. The best way to approach it, figure out your end goal first, and then work backward to find the certification that's going to help you get there.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty massive question to chew on. As AI gets better and better at automating both attacks and defense, what does the future of human expertise in security actually look like? It's definitely something to think about as you plan your next moves in this wild, fast-changing field.